income tax, it's RP's responsibility. Again, filing GST return is the responsibility of the RP. GST return, make payment on any other compliance under GST law goes to the IRP or RP. Okay. First thing, you people very well know, it's just a recap. Don't miss it because there are certain issues which we will discuss. New GST registration must be obtained within 30 days of the appointment of IRP or RP. This 30 days is for each. If the corporate data had 3 GST, you have to apply for 3 GST. He has 5, you have to apply for 5. So you have to ensure how many additional place of business is having. Same additional place of business you also need to do, and you have to ensure that you obtain the new registration within 30 days of the appointment. Okay, there could be some glitches. We will see that one also in the later part of the slide. There are certain notifications, circular has been given, and with regard to GST. As you people know, circular is a clarification. Wherever we require some clarification, it will be issued in the form of a circular. Notification, whenever there is a change in act, in that case, notification will be here. So, CGST has notified as well as issued circular with regard to how to comply with this GST in case of companies under CRP process. Okay. First thing, as I said earlier, we will talk about this registration. It should be, why is that registration is required? Because income tax, we are not going and obtaining new PAN, right? But with regard to GST, we have to do it because it's a different story. For GST, you have to pay you have to ensure that earlier problems stand still and new GST number is obtained, and whatever business you people are doing with regard to the corporate data, it needs to be filed in the new GST return. Okay, here you people are called as a distinct person. That is, you are treated as a separate person of the corporate data. Here they say corporate data is different and you are different. So they say new GST and registration number is required in each state or union territory wherever corporate data is registered earlier. That's what I said. If we had 30 registration, you people also need to obtain 30 registration. How many days time is given to us? Is 30 days is the time given to us because we are going to start the business. We have to give the new GST and registration number. Then after obtaining the registration number, the first return needs to be filed. Here also few sections are important. It is not your bread and butter GST, but still these sections are necessary for your. It is necessary for your correct way of doing your task assigned. Section 40. Okay, section 40 talks about the first return. First return, this one I will explain. The first return is very, very crucial. It is very, very important because it is not the regular return. Here we have certain ways through which we have to file the first return. First return means every registered person who has made outward supply in the period between the date on which he become liable to registration till the date on which registration has been granted shall declare the same in the first return furnished by him after the grant of registration. We will see the number numericals, then we'll come to these wordings. For example, we'll assume that insolvency commencement date was 1st March 2022. IRP has been appointed on the same day. Then now this is the manner. 1st March 2022. What is the maximum? 30 days. So 1 plus 30, 31 is a maximum time which is permitted. So 1st March is not considered because that's the day we get the information. So liable to register within 30 days. So 31st March, within 31st March, IRP or RP. If it is IRP's responsibility to obtain GST registration number within 31st March 2022. And here the registration is granted will not be on 31st March 2022. Some days they have to take because the physical verification, they will do certain compliance procedure. So assume that registration has been granted on 15th April 2022. What is the first written period? Section 40 period is 31st March. When I'm liable to get registered? 31st March, 30 days. So from that period to 15th April, that return is called as first return. Generally, return will be for 30 days, 21 days, 28 days or 29 days. But with regard to these particular thing alone, the period could be shorter. That is 31st March to 15th April. But the period that will be covered is that 1st March to 15th April, this period will be covered in this thing. Okay. See, what is the thing is that now outward supply is there. We need to see outward supply. That is for the sales, whatever sales you have executed. With regard to GST, we will not use the term sales. We will be using the term supply, supply of goods or services. So in between, henceforth, with regard to use GST, I'll be using the word only supply. Okay. Then we have to see the ITC. Okay, so the first return is the thing. While come here, this will become liable to register till the date of registration, till the date on which registration has been granted, shall declare the same in the first return furnished by him after the grant of registration. So he will be filing the registration. Okay, first return. Now, we'll move on to the next one. This is more important. Here, these things you people need to know with regard to ITC. Okay, when I'm just going to talk about first return alone. Second return is very normal. The first return alone, what is the thing we have to see? What is the input period? Now I'll go to the Excel sheet. I'll take the same example. 1st April 2022. So my time which is permitted is 31st April 2022. Okay, during this period, sales will happen. ITC will be there. ITC with regard to purchases will be there. RCM is also there. So these things happens during this period, right? During the 1st April to 31st March. Okay, after you person have taken the in charge of the corporate data, sales will be there. I'm talking only, this is the case where the business is in operation. Where the business is not in operation, just do the nil return alone. Okay, in case where there is a sales, in that case, this sales will happen in old GSTN number. For example, 33. I'm just giving us random example. So earlier GST number is this number. Then within this, so you will be making the purchase only with this GSTN number, right? This is your old GSTN number. Okay, this is effective only till 31st April. No, but 31st April, but the GSTN new GSTN number is given only on 5th April, May. 5th May alone it is given. In this case, what will happen is that till that time, you will be running with the old GSTN number. Once the new GSTN number comes into picture, so it will have same PAN alone, only the number which is at the back. First two digit is code, so that will not change. So these numbers alone, for example, it is a 15-digit number. So this number alone will change. So after this period, what will happen is that you will be doing all the transaction with the new GSTN number. From this day onwards, you will be doing your transaction with the new GSTN number, but the PAN will not change. Only the last three digit will change. Okay. So what will happen here is that the sales, whatever you have done, you will be filing here. This is the first return. This we call it as first return. Okay, whatever ITC, for example, we'll see to that the company has made 1.5 crore turnover. Supply of, let it be supply of goods. For our convenience, we'll have it as supply of goods. ITC purchases. ITC purchases, assuming the ITC that the company has received during the period could be 20 lakhs. But this 20 lakhs is in under which category? It is in the old GSTN number. But you are going to file the return under the new GSTN number, correct? So that it is a case is that you have supplied goods under old GSTN number, you have obtained ITC with old GSTN number, but while filing the return, you will be using the new GSTN number and sales will be accounted, sales will be captured under in the first return of this 1.5 crore will be using the new GSTN number alone. You will be making the filing. No filing here. Okay. This one, it is permitted that in the first return alone, you can claim the ITC which is not pertaining to years. That is, in the erstwhile, using the erstwhile GST and number, using the erstwhile GST and number, whatever ITC you have claimed 20 lakhs can be utilized for the sales that you have executed. This is the first return has given an advantage. So RP will be filing the return, first return, first return considering the old GSTN number ITC. Okay, this is the thing. The first return gives this advantage. Now we'll go furthermore. Okay. ITC in his first return be eligible to avail ITC credit on invoices covering the supply of goods or services or both received since his appointment as RP or IRP but bearing the erstwhile registered number. As I said earlier, this is the erstwhile registered number. Okay, subject to the conditions. Here, GST has multiple conditions to avail ITC. 16 section talks about the ITC conditions and more specifically 16 subsection 2 and added to that 16 subsection, but they say subject to the conditions, but they are giving exceptions to two provisions. One is 16 subsection 4 and 36 subsection 4. You no need to consider this two section for the purpose of filing the first return. What is this section 16 subsection 4 and 64 4 sub rule? Rule 636 sub rule 4 speaks about, we will discuss. This section 64 16.4 says we have to claim the ITC. Okay, the utilization is not a material, but that we have to claim the ITC whatever we have received by way of our purchases. That thing we have to claim earlier of the two dates after, that is given below. The maximum permitted time is 30th day of November following the end of the financial year to which the invoices or debit note pertains. That means the maximum permissible time is that you have to claim your ITC for the previous year. I'll come here. For the financial year, running financial year 2024 25, we can claim the ITC whatever that has been missed during this period. It can be claimed 30th November 2025. Okay, for the financial year 23-24, ITC is whatever ITC you have missed to claim earlier and it pertains to the period 23-24. It can be claimed before 30th November 2024. That means any return you are filing, for example, September return or October return, if you are filing, it is a delay alone, but it is permissible. September or October return in the month of November, that is also before 30th November, if you are filing, you can avail. But this ITC could be pertaining to the financial year 23-24. That means the bill could be pertaining to December 23. The December 23 bill, you have missed in the period 23-24. But it says acts give some relaxation. If you have missed to claim a December bill during this period, you can claim. What is the date which is permitted is 30th November 2024. The return filed. That is the return filed, any return it could be. The return pertaining to earlier months. Return filed before 30th November is the last date. Before that, you can claim the ITC. This thing is generally applicable. With regard to first return, this restriction is not there. Okay. Another date which is permissible for claiming ITC is the date of filing the annual return in Form GSTR 9. Like ROC, we have AOC 4, MGT 7. Here also we have an annual return. Annual return needs to be filed now as such 31st December of the following year. Here they have said is that the date of filing of annual return in Form GSTR 9, these two dates will not be considered for the purpose of first return. That is the first thing they have given here. Then coming to rule 36 sub rule 4, that rule is also not applicable for the first return. Okay, taxpayer filing 3B can avail only to the extent of eligible, only to the eligible credit available in GSTR 2B. I'll explain this one. This is very, very important. To claim ITC, if you have any doubts, you can ask. I will explain again. With regard to ITC, now it is strictly stated that whatever is available in 2B, 2B is a report which is a consolidated report of various vendors who has supplied goods or services to us. It's a report which is available in GST portal. Okay, what does this report states is that it will consolidate the all the ITC for the particular month for in this report to be. Okay, suppose the to be says that I have an ITC to the extent of 10 lakhs, then I can claim ITC only to the extent of 10 lakhs. Suppose I may have a bill and I have paid the payment other conditions bill and for which ITC is 12 lakhs. Okay, what does the act says is that now, okay, earlier it was little different. Now what is right now is available is that I have to restrict my ITC to 10 lakh. I can't claim, even though I have bills, I can't claim 12 lakhs. That's the thing now. This thing is not applicable for first return. So why it is not applicable in the sense this to be for this GST number alone will be available. For this GST number, no ITC could be available or lesser ITC could be available. Okay, to avoid the compliance issue, they said this the amount to be reflected in 2B. It is not the condition. This is general condition when you are filing a regular GST return. But coming to this point, coming to first return, they said ignore this one. What they have given is that you ignore this. It is not applicable for the first return. No, okay. They say these things are not applicable for the first return. After first return, whatever return you file, you have to comply with this one. So these two relaxation has been given for first return. Am I clear? Any point to be discussed?
Now I have some question.
Okay.
Yeah, first one is the registration is mandatory for even for entity which is not workable, which is not working.
Yeah, sir, it is required alone because it is stated that we have to do it because it doesn't stop here. Suppose the company what you have taken, it is doesn't complete with CRP, it goes to liquidation. Again, when you are selling assets individually, you are liable to pay GST. If
So
we it is a responsibility. They didn't say if it is nil return, there is no operation, no need to file the return. They haven't said something of that sort. The operation is not here, it's not today, it could be tomorrow or something it can happen. So whether it is nil return, it is a responsibility of the RP to obtain the GSTN number, sir. I'll explain a case. It's one case of that sort. I'll explain that one. Here, there it has happened. The RP hasn't obtained. It went to liquidation. The liquidator, he also failed to obtain. He said it is not my responsibility. It is RP's responsibility. We'll discuss the case in the next few slides, sir. It is your responsibility to obtain, sir.
second question is the time within which we have to file the first return.
Once you have obtained the return, once you have received the registration, then we have to see whether this period, 1 month period has completed, and it is your duty to file the return, sir.
No, that is what I am asking. We have got registration on 15th of May,
Mm,
as per your slide.
mm.
So when we need to file that return within 30 days, 15 days, 10 days.
That thing is not specifically given. For other things, at least 20 days, 10 days of the following month is there. 10th or 11th, according to the turnover, that number is determined. But here, the first return needs to be filed immediately after the obtaining registration is given. So why is this? This
Okay.
could be even for the shorter period because suppose this person has applied, for example, I'll take the case here. See, he has applied immediately. He's well aware of the thing, so he has applied on 10th itself.
Yeah.
So the registration has been given on 15th April. So why is this is necessary? Is it just a changeover from old number to new number? So for that thing, immediately after this thing, they haven't given. Only for this period, you are going to take up the issue. Till 1st April to 15th April, you are going to file this return.
Yeah,
So you have to do is immediately.
okay. We have to file it immediately. Immediately after registration, we have to file it.
Registration number has been received, sir.
Oh, okay. And can we take ITC which is pending in our old number?
Old number, what is pending, sir?
ITC. I can avail the ITC that is pending in our old number.
Yes, certainly, sir. For that alone, whatever ITC is there, that will be carry forward. This from this, for example, with regard to this GSTN number, I have 25 lakhs as my ITC. This ITC will be transferred to the new ITC number.
No, that
You can
25 lakhs, that 25 lakhs related to the period after the start of process in CRP, or it is before that also.
opening balance, sir. Opening
That is it
balance.
means it is before the period of CRP.
Correct, sir. You can avail that one.
You can avail that.
Yes, you can, like the carry forward laws, income tax, same thing, sir. You have a
Okay.
thing you can avail, because why should we burden the corporate data? Already he is an issue, so this benefit is not deprived, sir. He can very well take up this 25 lakhs.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, then we will see, as his question is that here in this case ITC he had 25 lakhs. Sometimes by mistake, or he would have deposited cash. Okay, that means in his cash ledger, we call, with regard to GST, we use the term cash ledger, credit ledger. Since most of them are CS, I'll just give few explanation on this subject. Cash ledger, credit ledger. Cash ledger means whatever amount you pay by way of cash. Cash in the sense through bank route. Okay, whatever amount is paid by way of bank route, that will be called as, that will be, if you have deposited cash to the extent of 12 lakhs, that will be saying it as cash ledger, balance of the particular taxpayer. There we will be saying it as a assessee. With regard to income tax, we call that person as an assessee. With regard to GST, we call it as a taxpayer. It will be available in the cash ledger of that particular person. 12 lakhs will be there. With regard to credit ledger, means the amount that has been accumulated through ITC, RCM, we call it as credit ledger. Okay, here, what does its act says is that with regard to cash ledger, if the corporate data has any balance, in that case, this balance cannot be transferred from this GSTN number to another GSTN number. It has to be refund. We have to apply for refund alone. So ITC, that can be carried forward, not an issue. But with regard to cash, what they say is that whenever there is in cash ledger, there is some balance. In that case, you can go and claim for refund. It cannot be transferred. That's what this para says. So any amount deposited in the cash ledger by IRP, RP in the existing registration from the date of appointment of an RP or IRP to the date of registration in terms of this notification shall be available for refund. So you can't adjust. So the erstwhile registration. So that's what we have to see. Any cash deposit can be claimed as a refund, cannot be transferred. Okay, we will see some pre-CRP GST issues and how that has been addressed. Okay, first these are the things which has come as a clarification. This clarification, they have issued certain FAQs and they have given an answer to the issues that has been faced earlier in earlier days. Okay, so generally what has happened, this whenever this IRP or RP has been appointed, the GST department comes and pressurizes the IRP or RP to make the payment of the earlier period. Okay, we know very well when we are responsible only from the date we have been appointed as an RP or IRP. See, the first question is that, am I liable to the earlier period? Strictly no. What is given here is no coercive action can be taken against the corporate data with respect to the dues for the period prior to insolvency commencement date. If you receive any notices with regard to earlier period, kindly quote this. It is a circular. Okay, I'll just say the circular number so that it can be used. Okay, the circular number is 134 for 2020. In that thing alone, this circular, you can quote this circular. Based on this circular, I am not responsible for the dues of the prior period. We can very well comment there. Okay, then next, the dues of the prior period, what the person will do. So, okay, you can't follow up with me. We have to give some solution to the GST department. What does this say? What does this FAQ says is that if you have any liability, in that case, you submit the claim as operational debt. Okay, we know very well this income, this statutory, central government, state government, whatever dues to them, they fall under the category of operational creditor. They have to file the claims like any other operational creditor, and they have to get the amount. Okay, the tax officer shall seek the details of the supplies made or received and the total tax due pending from the corporate data to file the claim before the NCLT. Okay, he has to claims that what we know, like any other person, he has to submit the claims, right? He has to submit the claim like third party operational creditor, and he has to follow that route alone. No new route or no special route has been given for the government departments. Okay. We know the section 14 which imposes moratorium. Okay, that is also. Then we'll move to the next question. Should GST registration of the corporate data be cancelled? Sometimes what happens is that when the return is not filed, in that case, the GST department will cancel the registration and first thing they suspend the registration. When the return is not filed for few period, what will happen is that the department has the right to suspend the registration. That is the first step. After the registration has been suspended, then within 30 days, the concerned taxpayer can approach the GST department to revive that. If it is 30 days period has lapsed, then the taxpayer needs to take up the appeal route alone. So to make it simple, whenever there is a suspension, then in that case, kindly approach the proper officer. As in, here we call it as proper officer, and ask him to revive the cancellation suspension. Okay, in that case, it is given that it is an instruction given to the GST department. It don't kindly, if need be, suspend. If there is a problem, suspend the registration. It is not recommended at them for to cancel the registration. They no need. They should not cancel the registration. Suspension can be done. Okay. Earlier, if any registration is under the suspension cancellation period, it is if it is within the revocation of cancellation period, then it can be revoked. So earlier thing, if there is anything under cancellation, you can kindly revoke it. That is the instruction which is given to them. Okay. This is very well-known question alone. Who is liable to file the returns for the pre-CRP period? As questioned earlier, no liability is not under obligation to comply with legal requirements for the period after the insolvency commencement date. Whatever questions pertaining to earlier period, we are not responsible since it is not in the hands of the RP. We don't know what happened. We can't go and dig the thing and to answer their questions. We can strictly say it is not my responsibility. I am responsible only from the insolvency commencement date. No questions can be answered by me for the earlier period. Okay. Then we'll move on to the second. This question, this is very well known and it has been already discussed. Whether new registration to be taken by the corporate data during the CRP process? Simple answer, yes. 30 days time frame is given to us. Okay. Then we will see here how to file the first return after obtaining the new registration. We know like furnishing returns, making payment, complying with the provision, whose responsibilities, RPs and IRP's responsibility. IRP is required to ensure first return under section 40 is filed. For what period? Beginning of the CRP period until the registration is obtained. For that period, he has to file as section 40 return alone, first return alone. Okay. Then, for next thing is that this question, how to avail ITC for invoices. This also we have discussed. Whatever ITC was there for the earlier period, that can be claimed now. Earlier ITC can be claimed earlier, even though it is in the old registration number. Since it is only for the first return, this benefit is given. So while you are filing the first return, ensure that the ITC, whatever is in the old period, has been claimed in full. Don't miss that thing. Later period we can't claim the benefit. So that is one thing which we have to be very careful. Okay, they are talking about ITC of others. The counter persons supply. In this case, what will happen is that we will be when we are filing the output tax return, GSTR1, we will be specifying the new GST number. In that case, it is said that the persons who the counterparty can avail the ITC. Okay, that's a thing. Some of the IRPs have made this cash deposit also. We have seen this can be claimed only as refund, and it cannot be transferred to the new GST. Okay. Any doubt still? Then we'll move on to the case laws. Any doubts with regard to these?
If the RP has been replaced and there is enough credit balance and cash ledger balance, so the new RP can will have to take, or the new RP can presume that already that compliance had been made regarding new registration. So, what is the position of new RP? And the next question is that if what is the liability of the RP if RP will like to go with the old registration number? If obviously if there would be some credit balance and cash ledger balance there.
Okay. Here we have two questions. One thing is that first thing to understand is that whether the RP has obtained, that is XRP, whether the XRP has obtained new registration, sir, whether the new XRP has obtained a new registration under GST.
He is not handing over and the control and custody.
I couldn't get you. He hasn't given you proper
I,
info.
I don't have any idea about that because he is not handing over the control and custody, and he is not cooperating.
Oh, XRP is not cooperating. Mhm. You have GST, you don't have GST login details also will not be with you. Oh, okay. Generally what is the option we have is that you have to comply to the NCLT alone, sir, about the RP, because unless information is not given to you, because a complaint is must, sir, because if we are keeping quiet and we are then if they come to us why we haven't filed, we can't refer these people. Whenever we have an issue, whenever there is an act doesn't give straight answer, it is the first thing we have to complain to the board also, because RP is controlled by the board. Okay, so it is better. It needs to be compliant. That is, this person is not supportive. He's not giving anything. You have to complain. Don't say we are complaining about someone, because this is not the personal thing. It is a professional thing. Wherever you don't have solution, it is better to complain. And you are saying I have already brought the issue. So it is not in your hands, and we can even follow up for the complaint submitted if then there's no response from their side. Okay. So because you don't have any information, who will give the information in the RP itself? We have only the PAN number. We can take the PAN number because it is not going to change. But with that thing, we can't do much. We should get the GST and GST number. This number will be linked with the ex RP's phone number, mail ID, which you can't have access. Okay, if we should have something to break the G at password. When we don't have anything, even the Aadhaar card, OTP, everything will be linked to the XRP. So better thing is that you can raise a complaint, sir.
That has been done. The 60 within bracket 5 application has been submitted with NCLT, and that also IBBI has been kept on loop. Because the application has been forwarded to IBBI also. And my next question is that what would be the liability if new registration would not be taken? And what obviously there is credit balance and cash ledger balance.
We'll do another one also, sir. For the issue, we can, but we use using the PAN, using the place where it is registered, we can identify the assessment officer, which office it falls under. Based on that, you can go and submit the query with them also. Because IBBA, we are approaching IBA as first step. Second thing also, we know we should have some link to proceed further. That's what some link is required to move forward. Now we know if this GST go, how does it goes based on the location. Suppose I'm in a particular area, I'm in Ananagar, Chennai. In that case, my area falls under which jurisdiction? I should identify the jurisdiction. Okay, after identifying the jurisdiction, I can specify that this is my PAN. I want to know whether the first return has been filed or not. If first return has not been filed, then we can take the next step. So at least this person will, we have to obtain the support of these persons alone. IBBA one thing, because his RP's professional misconduct will happen, then he will be under pressure. He can't continue with his profession. So if we are giving pressure from his through IBBA. Again, if you see as an RP, you are approaching the assessing officer, saying that I don't have this RP password, nothing I don't have, but you can say you are the RP, so that you are the authorized representative now. So with that also we can try to get some loophole, and we'll try to get the GSTN number. He can help you in this case. After
Fine.
having complaint order, you can move with this person also and try to get the other way to come out of this issue.
Ma'am, I
Another
have one practical question.
Mm.
That it is clear that as per law, we have to take new GST number. But
New
whenever
GST.
whenever we apply for new registration number,
Mm.
we face issues that sometime GST department does not issue new GST number by citing some reason. In one case, I approached LCLT, and after 7-8 months, I got the number.
Okay.
But now recently the on the GST portal, they have made certain changes. Now they require KYC document of 2 directors
Mm.
apart from the IRP of the RP.
Mm.
And in that particular company, it has been going on under the IRP for last 4 years. Uh, I was replaced with another RP. Now I am the current RP. The S1 RP did not take new GST number,
Mm.
and he continued with the old GST number. Okay.
Okay.
And
Mm.
even he did not complete the compliance with the old GST number, so it got cancelled.
Mm.
And now when we apply into new GST for new GST, they are
Mm.
asking for two KYC document of 2 directors. Directors are not available in the company.
It is a flaw.
We have raised tickets. We have raised tickets. We have tried to explain the department that this is company under CIRP. Please issue GST number on my credentials, but they're not issuing.
So here clearly it is not your problem. We will be seeing a case also similar to yours. But their GST number has been rejected to a liquidator. That is different thing. Then he has approached the High Court. See, for
Mhm.
a GST number, see, we are forced to approach a High Court to get the number. Sometimes it's department officials. That's why we can't. I'm not blaming every person. Some persons are not. That's what everywhere now knowledge transfer is very important. Whether whatever field I am, to do my professional service well, I should get update myself. So here that fellow, the counter fellow department said no, just you have filed it belatedly. See, 30 days we have to file. That fellow has filed belatedly. So he said no. Okay, the thing is that it is not allowing us to do the duty what we need to do the duty. See, for here we don't have any other option. We have to your case is little tricky alone. We have to get the file the appeal. If appeal is also not helping, then we have to file the writ petition alone, sir. Or else you can go straight with the writ petition with the High Court itself. Okay, it is not your fault. The another thing is that both the thing you can file, sir. First thing is that the system, that there is a flaw in the system. The system says 2 directors. Then what about there is not 2 RP for each and every case, right? So this whenever when the new system is framed, it has to consider other areas.
Yes.
Sticking only with the C Companies Act alone, Companies Act says two. Okay, why don't you consider about IBC, where it requires only 1 RP? So there is no provision in the Act. So what Act or code? What you will do? So when you have applied for registration, you can explain. When the fellow is not accepting, we don't have an option. We can go for the writ, sir. And we have to, because appeal also will not help us here. Writ we can straight away go. Appeal means again if they so again we have to come to the High Court. So instead you can say these two issue, file a writ and get the solution in favoring you, sir. This case it has favored. I'll explain that one. Within 2 weeks time they said it has to be given. Okay, your case is similar to that. It
The
is
same thing happened with me in the Gujarat department. NCLT ordered for granting new GST number. Even after that, GST department did not issue a new GST number. Then I filed contempt application against GST department. Then they issued new GST.
Same was the case in one of my matter in which I was the liquidator, and I
okay.
had issued notice, and after that I had to go to NCLT, and I had to issue notice to the jurisdictional officer, and after that I got the GST number. So that was the case in liquidation.
See, this
I
is
think these matters should be taken up by the IP as well with the IBBI and respect GST department.
correct to make our life
These are
simple.
practical problems.
Yes, as you said, to make our life simple, they have to interfere because see, for GST registration number, they can't pressurize us. We have multiple works to do. So I'm in the starting stage of getting the registration when I will go and file the return. So these are the complexities which we are facing alone. Okay, we'll move to the next one.
Please also tell us something about the reverse charge mechanism in this, because I am uh, I am actually depositing reverse charge in case of security agency, which is a partner firm, and another one on legal expenses. So, is
Hmm.
there any other things on which reverse charge is applicable? And
Yeah, sir, reverse charge is applicable. I'll show you the list of categories where RCM is required. So these cases we are supposed to, doesn't matter whether we are an RP or a regular taxpayer. See, if it is goods, we have limited categories alone. So generally we will be having, these are the goods category. Even I can share the updated list with you. Third thing I'll do. 40 section I have to do. 40, 28 class 4 I have to do along with this presentation. Now I'll include this RCM also. RCM mainly will be concerned with the services. Okay. This goods transport agencies, almost more than 15 categories are there under this RCM. Just whenever what you have to do is that apart from output tax, apart from ITC, we have to ensure we have to go through the various ledgers. In this ledgers, whether any RCM is there, like goods transport agencies, whenever you use a GTA, if the bill has ITC, then it's not an issue. When the bill doesn't have ITC, then it is a responsibility of you people to pay the GST. Here, my advice is that you pay the GST at the rate of 12% so that you can claim ITC. Don't go for 5%. Since it is not RCM, I'm not explaining, I'm just saying the crux of it. Anything if you want personally, you can, I'll give my number, you can text there, we can discuss on that thing. Okay, for regard to GTA, pay 12%, then alone it is eligible for ITC. Then the second RCM category is that advocate, senior advocate or advocate, whoever, whenever, when they are receiving any legal services, we have to pay RCM. Similar to advocate, arbitral services. Arbitral services generally we will not do at an RP level. Okay. Then sponsorship thing, any person, what a sponsorship also generally for IP category, because when we are starving for fund, we will not go for sponsorship. Then the next category, central government, state government. Any services rented by central government means suppose you are using the rental property of the central government, state government, local authority. In that case also, we have to pay rent RCM basis alone for the rent. Transfer of development rights, generally it will not be applicable for RP case. Then director also, if a case of director, any amount is given to director. Here no director, so RCM is not applicable. Insurance agent, music composer, so generally if you see business facilitator, agent of the business correspondent, any person other than the services. Security personnel. See, generally, if you see, I'll just say what are the ledgers which we have to see. Security personnel, security services provided, that ledger becomes important. Then, this 15th services provided by way of renting of motor vehicle provided to a body corporate, any person other than the body corporate who opts to pay the tax at the rate of 5% and is eligible to ITC. This is not relevant for us. So security person is covered, advocate is covered. Suppose you are going for any issues, then the thing is that, and if you are renting the property from the central government, state government, local authority, that case is also covered. Then the very first category is GTA. GTA will be generally will be there because sometimes the goods whatever we receive, so it comes, the bill comes along with the invoice. That is, along with the invoice we get the transport. Sometimes it comes as a separate thing. In that case, it is we kindly check whether GST is charged there. If not, it is your responsibility. So in principle, GTA is covered, security services is covered, renting of immovable property from government is covered, and the fourth category is that security personnel, advocate is covered. So these four categories generally often comes for the RP. But I'll give the entire thing. But you can see to that these four ledgers are often used. Okay. Then we'll move to moratorium under IBC and adjudication under GST. Okay, the next thing is that moratorium under IBC and adjudication under GST. We'll take the case law. This is a Karnataka High Court case. In this case, the petitioner was served with a notice under section 75. This 73, 74, 75, those things are notice sections. And the petitioner sought setting aside the said notice on the ground he has received the notice during the CRP period. Then the petitioner, what he has to do, like Dhanapal sir asked, whenever some notice or something comes, when it is not as per the provisions, the petitioner he has approached the High Court to set aside the notice issued under section 75. Okay, here the Revenue Authority's comment is that this is quite good. The Revenue Authority's comment is that they are issued a notice because it could hit by limitation bar under the GST law if the proceedings were initiated after the lifting of moratorium. This point is very important. What is the Revenue Authority's comment? That is, respondent comment is that if the notice is not served now, after the expiry of the CRP period, the Limitation Act will be applicable. So by the time I can't issue a notice at all. What is this Limitation Act? Generally, you know very well, whenever some issue happens, and there is a time limit is there to issue notice to file a suit against the parties. This thing is detailed explained in Limitation Act 1963. There, for each and every services there is a time period is there. Once the time period expires, you can't issue notice or you can't file a suit against the counterfellow. So the revenue says, if I wait till the moratorium completes, this I can't issue notice. That's the thing. He has given the revenue authorities has given a command. Then it was content, and now the petitioner said, irrespective of that, this Limitation Act proceeding cannot be initiated once a moratorium is declared by NCLT. Okay, now we have to see what does the NCLT says. Okay, it has gone to the court. The court observed the plain reading of Prosem 14. We know very well, multiple times we have read this one. The thing is that once moratorium is imposed, we can't initiate or continue the proceedings against the petitioner before any other authority, including the respondent. Okay, so the case, it is concluded that once a moratorium is granted by NCLT, it will continue. That moratorium we know very well when it will stop. Once the completion of CRP process, or until the resolution plan is until the or until it approves the resolution plan or passes an order of liquidation of the corporate data. So the first thing is that the first point is that CRP process can stop in between. You know very well section 12A, which says that withdrawal of the CRP. If there is a withdrawal of CRP period, then the moratorium comes to an end. Any person who has not issued notice can issue the notice. And if the resolution plan approves also, moratorium ends. But we can't issue notice after that, because we know very well, once the resolution plan is approved, if the person who is acquiring in the resolution applicant will buy the company as a clean sheet. All the claims has been discharged. No new claims come in future. Mm. Now we will see the next issue, GST registration of the liquidator. This one right now we have explained under IBC. Okay, in this case, the petitioner was appointed as an RP. What he has done is that but the thing is that that particular corporate data could not obtain any resolution plan. So from CRP, the situation has moved to the liquidation. This RP by mistake he hasn't obtained GST when he was an RP. Now the liquidator, now he's appointed, same person is appointed as a liquidator. Now he has gone and applied for GST registration number. Okay, now the department, the concerned person got quite angry, it seems, well, whatever be the scenario. He said he has rejected the application. Generally, show cause notice will be issued. Why? That will be there. But he has rejected, stating that necessary documents is not there. Belated filing, not applying he has said that you haven't applied within 30 days of the passing of the CRP, within 30 amendment of the CRP. So he has rejected. Now the thing is that it has gone to the High Court. The High Court has favored in favor of the liquidator. Okay, it has said that there is a flaw with regard to the liquidator. He has filed it belatedly, but it is not correct on the part of the but it is not correct on the part of the GST department to reject the application. Okay, when there is a delay, penalty can be imposed on the liquidator, but they cannot delay the when they cannot reject the registration. They said it is mandatory for the liquidator to file the GST return. In case whenever sometimes liquidation comes, the assets can be sold piecemeal. Whenever the assets are sold piecemeal, in that scenario, it is the responsibility of the liquidator to pay the GST. Okay, if the registration number is not given, he can't do his duty. So that was a court's order. They said we can't make the liquidator to run from post to pillar to obtain this registration. This is the case of yours, sir. You said as the same thing. We have no other go. Just apply the writ with High Court and obtain the order in favor of yours, sir. Okay. We'll move on to the next one. This is also quite interesting thing. GST liability on such a transfer or sale as a going concern. Any doubts, sir? Any doubt so far? I'll move to the next point. Next one. Any doubts? Shall I proceed? Okay. I'll move on to the next one. GST liability on a transfer, sale as a going concern. Okay. I will explain this one in short. Sale as a going concern because we know very well what is supply. The supply includes sale, transfer, barter system, exchange made for a consideration in the course of furtherance of the business. What does the supply says? It should be in the course of furtherance of the business. Now the question arises whether sale as a going concern is in the course of furtherance of business. Okay, it is course means conduct of the business or enhancement of the business. Whether sale as a going concern is a conduct of the business, that is not my objective, or enhancing my business by selling, I'm not enhancing my business, I'm reducing my business. So now they said it is not a supply. Some argument went that manner. Later they said supply, they have given the word includes. That means it is not restricting itself. So it is not necessary that should be in the conduct of the business or enhancing the business. It can be much more than that. So they said going concern, sale as a going concern is considered as a supply. Okay, once it is supply, it is considered supply alone, GST will come into picture. If it is not a supply, it will not come into picture. For example, land registration is not a supply, so it will not come under GST. Similarly, petrol diesel is not a supply for time being, so it will not come under the purview of GST. What is this transfer as a going concern? What are the modes it can be? Okay, transfer as a going concern means it can be either the mode can be either the whole complete company I'm selling or independent thereof. This could be for the lump sum consideration. Why it is lump sum consideration? I don't value each and every asset of of the particular undertaking. I will value as a undertaking as a whole or business as a whole. Okay, that's the thing. These are the general thing which needs to be considered because going concern is not defined. We'll move into the international definition for this going concern. Okay, we have discussed these things include, so supply, it is considered as a supply. Now we'll move to the next one. Okay, transfer of the business asset. Transfer of the business is different. We have to see whenever the order is issued or when you are applying for the order, see to that the correct words are issued to avoid any compliance issue at the later point. Okay, whenever you are applying, this resolution plan is submitted, we have to ensure that proper terminology has been used. Transfer of business asset is different, transfer of business is different, right? Okay, transfer of business asset is considered as supply of goods. When it is supply of goods, GST comes into picture. But say transfer of the business as a going concern, it is to be seen whether it is taxable or it is exempt. Okay, we will see. There is one notification which has been issued. No, this is important notification. Notification number 12. Not only this one, multiple things were addressed in notification number 12, 2017. It is important notification. Okay, in that thing they have specified under chapter 99 services, not supply of goods, services. So supply of goods is not comes under going concern. Supply of services by way of transfer of a going concern as a whole. Important words, because when you are doing this art, when you are working as a liquidator, these things come often. Transfer of a going concern as a whole or independent part thereof. Why independent part thereof? For example, your concern may have multiple undertakings. Here I can sell the business as a whole or a part of an undertaking can be sold. For example, I'm manufacturing machinery, that is separate undertaking. Manufacturing clothes, that's a separate undertaking. Okay, I can sell a part of undertake. I can sell that particular undertaking. That also will fall under the going concern. Either it can be whole business or undertaking, independent part thereof. Okay, the importance has been given only to services. So supply of goods is not a going concern. Since we are running short of time, I'm going little faster. So, to say it is a going concern, these are the conditions which we have to see. The asset must be sold as a business, as a going concern. Okay, the purchaser intends to use. That means what does this say is that I have to give the asset, I have to give the liability also. So, that such a case, that particular buyer runs this business as a separate undertaking, separate business. Without any other requirement, he can run the business. Intends to use the asset to carry on the same kind of business. It is not after buying assets from you, I will take up the assets alone. I want to run the business as a same as of yours. Okay, if I'm having hotel in multiple areas, I want to sell in a hotel only in Tamil Nadu, only in Andhra. That is separate. That can be taken as a separate and can be used as a separate. Okay, and where only part of the business is sold, it must be capable of separate operation. When I sell a hotel which is in Andhra, that I can run as a separate operation, right? So in my case, the say hotel in Andhra will be considered as a separate operation. Okay, there must not be a series of immediately consecutive transfers. They give importance to this line also. There must not be series of immediately consecutive transfers in the sense. So I'm selling one portion, again one portion. It's not that the piece and piecemeal I'm selling, but consecutively transfer, that will not be considered as a going concern. It has to go as a lot. Okay, piecemeal simple single asset, and that will not be considered as a going concern. This is one important case where in advance ruling it has decided whether the particular transaction is a sale of goods or sale of supplies. This is very important. So we'll expend some few minutes alone. I will about to finish alone. Okay. In this case, advance ruling Chhattisgarh, what they have given is that the liquidator has given an e-auction. In that e-auction, he has given two things. One is company as a whole. You take up the entire company. Then else biomass plant alone. B. That is two categories are there. Okay, now the question arises whether the sale of biomass plant Okay, is considered as a going concern or not. Oh, in this case, it was held that the sale of the plant means he's interested to take up the plant alone, that particular machinery alone. In that case, we can't say it as a undertaking, or it cannot be said as a business as a going concern. So in this case, they have declared the first one as a whole is different, no question on it. It is a going concern alone. Second case, when you're applying for liquidation, even though the liquidator has specified, I want to do it in as a going concern, but biomass power plant alone, his thing is plant. It's a part of it is given here. It is an asset alone. It is not considered as an undertaking. And for this sale of, and for this supply of this biomass power plant falls under the ambit of GST, and GST has to be paid. So whenever you are coming across a going concern, please ensure the risk of the particular undertaking is transferred in full. Asset is transferred, liability is transferred, the entire undertaking or entire business needs to be transferred. Okay, if only a part of the asset is not transferred, then it will be a problem. Okay, if it goes, it has to go along with the land. Only I'm allowing you to take up the plant. It will not be considered as a going concern, because I can take up the plant and I can fix it in my place and I work from there. That is different story. I have to sell the entire business or the particular independent. The terminology used is an independent. So whenever you come across such situation, kindly have a checklist. Ensure that am I meeting the condition, because once what happens is that once the liquidator gets the amount, okay, he has to disburse the amount. Before disbursing, it is his duty to pay the GST. Suppose if he hasn't done, then penal action will be imposed on him. So whenever you are appointed as liquidator, whenever this going concern concept comes, ensure am I fulfilling the conditions. If you fulfill the condition, you can go ahead taking it as a going concern and no GST needs to be paid, because if the stakeholders committee is there, you will be held responsible because you are saying no GST. Then if you say no GST and if an order comes, if a notice comes stating that you have to pay GST, it becomes your penalty. Then you have to disperse. If the amount is in hand, it's fine. If the amount is not in hand and you have already dispersed, whose responsibility? The liquidator who has done the fault becomes liable to pay. So these things we have to handle with care. So just understand, situate before implementing. Just check, am I following? Even though the terminology could be old to you, doesn't matter. What does this particular act says? What is the relief it gives me? What is the problem I may face? Understand that before implementing things. Transfer of a business concern is tax exempt under GST, whereas sale of an asset of the above supply of goods will be out of the purview of exemption from tax, eventually having GST implication. I'll run fast with regard to these things. Part 2, liquidation. Here, what has happened is that that fellow from VAT, this the company was not doing. It was closed for 10 years, so no GST was not there at all. He doesn't come under GST regime at all. He was under GST regime but failed to do the registration because the company is not working. So the order has been given straight to liquidation. Okay, from no CRP process, went straight to liquidation. The company was not operating for many years, 10 years. So in this case, the liquidator has responsibility to obtain the GST number, because don't we can't say GST is not applicable to me because the notification 2020 talks only about the RP IRP. So it is the responsibility of liquidator also to file the GST number. Okay, I can't say they have come under nothing, no question of it. It is your responsibility to obtain the new GST number and go ahead filing the papers. Okay, this is another thing. SOP on GST claim in insolvency cases. In this case, this thing is that they have given a standard operating procedures. What is the standard operating procedure refers here is that even the government fails to, this GST department fails to submit their claims. Okay, then later they will raise issue. See, it is not that thing they have missed it. We know we are right, but then also what has happened is that they will be issuing notice to us. We have to respond. Okay, when we will not, they will not allow us to do the work. We will have unnecessary issues. So there is one high court case, Jharkhand state government, even they have not filed their claims. GST department has not have not filed their GST claims. In that case, they said no, even it is government, no, you can't claim the, if once a claim is not submitted, you can't get any benefit from this IBC. That was done even for the government thing. So whatever they said is that in case of government, there will be a special person and like a zonal office, he will be informing the concerned GST department stating that this company has come under CRP process, file your claims. So there is one thing they have given to support the department thing, zonal office will be working on the same. Their duty is to inform which other companies have come under at IBC, submit their claims so that because 90 days, maximum 90 days alone is available to submit the claims. Okay, for any person for that matter. So that to for them to reduce the burden, this operating standard operating procedure has been given exclusively for the governments, then exclusively for the GST departments to submit their claims so that they can get some benefit, some, because they were not going to get the amount in full, right? At least some amount they will get. Okay, this is where I'm stopping with regard to this interplay of IBC with income tax and GST. Any doubts? Any doubts? Can we wind up the session?
Is the rainbow paper is relevant in this rainbow paper
Pardon?
judgment? Rainbow paper judgment is relevant on in case of GST claims.
I haven't come across the judgment, sir. Once I read, I'll read and revert you, sir. I haven't read that one. Okay. Anything else? Okay, then we'll end up the session. Thank you so much for your patience hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving your time and taking out the session. The session was very wonderful and insightful. Now I am requesting to kindly share the PPT with us.
Sure, will do.